And welcome to another very special episode of The Breakdown. Probably the biggest episode up to date. This is The Breakdown, X's and O's, and we're not talking hugs and kisses, ladies and gentlemen. To my right is the man, the myth, the legend, a member of the NFLPA, if you can't tell by his shirt. I like to call him Nate Nessie, but as you can see, his name is Nate Ness. He is a 5-year NFL vet, and without him, this show would not be possible. So for the first segment, Nate and I will talk about a little contract. We'll go into a couple numbers, evaluate a player, see what his value is for the next coming year. He's a young quarterback starting in the NFL. And then towards the end of the show, probably I'll save a lot.
I'm passing the baton to you. I'm passing
passing the baton to me.
Yes.
I'm going to bring in a special guest, somebody you've never, ever seen before on the channel. And we're going to come in. We had a conversation the other day. We're going to give you a cover athlete for every single year of NCAA football we have missed. So the last football game was NCAA 14. We just had college football 25 come out. So every year in between, we are giving you a cover athlete with numbers, with research, with well-minded and very educated opinions. So please stay tuned for this because, like I said, this might be the biggest episode up to date. Please share when we get there because if you look it up on YouTube, you will not see a video like this yet. So I'm very excited. I'm so stoked. As soon as I got off work, I ate, hopped on the computer, research, got ready for this show. I'm going to try to make it as visual as everything. I have videos, pictures, tickers at the bottom. And speaking of tickers, before I get in trouble, I need to put those up. Yes. And I'm just excited, Nate. But before we start off, I like to start off the episode right. What's up, Nate? We haven't talked in a week. I want to know what's going on. How's your day been? Like, just tell me what's going on.
Oh, everything is great. It's funny because Nika just said the same thing. Feel like we haven't done a show in a while. But everything's great. You know, today is Taco Tuesday. But you know, another beautiful day, another beautiful blessing of life. You got to excuse. You know, we are on parent duty. You know, we got to get these kids ready for school or get them back in the school mode and whatnot. And you know, they're running around. And you know, if I can, I say hello to my children, Tyler, Nemo, and Demi. Say hello to Nika. I love you. She's right here. Come here. You know, come over here and say hi to Connor. You always tell Connor hi.
You do.
You always tell Connor hi. You better come here. You always tell Connor hi.
You're upsetting me. Hey, don't be shy.
You gonna say hi to Connor?
Hey, Connor. I don't bite. You see me every week. Well, I'm glad you're doing good, Nate, because did you work out today? Was today on day, leg day?
No. Yesterday was on day, so you're seeing all the effects from yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. I did leg day yesterday, and I threw up twice. I'm gonna be honest with you. Leg day is probably leg day Every time I do leg day, I get so nauseous. I didn't eat yesterday until I worked out, and I had just a protein shake. And man, I hit squats. I was doing 3 sets of 12 on squat. Then I hit RDLs, 3 sets of 10. And then on leg press, I was hitting 3 sets of 12. Man, after that third set of leg press, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good. And I went to I ran to the bathroom as fast as I could. And right when I got into that bathroom, Nate, I felt good. I felt like I was going to be safe for the day. And then somebody's booty fumes had crawled up my nostrils. And right when I smelled them booty fumes, oh my gosh, it was over. It was over. But like, I gotta tell you what's been going on, Nate, because after the show last Tuesday, I took a trip to Starkville and met some Mississippi State legends. Now I went to a like a college football opening for it before the game released. The Thursday before the game released, State did a football players versus esports team type deal. So a bunch of me and my friends came, and we scheduled a trip. Went over to Humphrey Coliseum, which is where the basketball players
that's
basketball. And dude, we saw they had 4 NFL players and a bunch of current players. Like we saw the QB1, and I saw somebody that I had not seen since the Senior Bowl. So I got the pleasure of meeting the 2023 SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Buki Watson, otherwise known as Nathaniel. Yes, and he remembered me at the Senior Bowl. Check this out. I walked up to him, right, and I was like, "Hey, Buki," and as soon as I said that, he's like, "Were you the guy from the Senior Bowl?" And so I started talking to him, man, and we had a pretty good conversation. He remembered me. It was so sick. And then I was telling him like, "Hey, I'm trying to get pictures with everybody else." Well, I got a picture with Jonathan Abrams, who is now a Saints safety, who was first round draft pick to the Raiders back in like 2018 or something. And man, it was so awesome. Literally, like when Buki walked behind me, I turned up to him. I was sitting like this, and said, we were on the first name basis at this point. I'd seen him a couple times, and I was like, "Buki." He said, "What?" I said, JT Gray's here. He's told me JT Gray, which is like one of the greatest Saints special teamers of all time, was on a Zoom call. I couldn't get a picture with him. You know how big I'm a big Saints fan, but I'm an even bigger State fan. And to not have JT Gray there broke my heart. But Buki was there. It was fantastic. I mean, I had so much fun. I was watching football. He was like, "If you want to, you can take my spot in the tournament." I was like, I don't know if they'll allow that, but like, shoot, I'll play some football. I'll play some football with Buki now. Buki, I miss you. Come on the podcast, please, if you're watching. Please, just get on the podcast with me and Nate. And I don't know, man. I just had so much fun. But I'm about to have.
I'm glad you had fun,
bro. I'm about to probably have more fun tonight with you. Pause. No Diddy.
No Diddy.
No Diddy. No sketch.
And hey. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's just get right into it.
Are you ready to get right into it, Nate?
Because get right into it.
I am. I mean,
look, like while you playing, you know what's on the back of that TV right there? You know what's on?
Nate, can you tell me what's on that TV? Because I cannot see a thing.
NCAA 25.
Oh my gosh, Nate. Why didn't you invite me to it? We gotta get on a party in like.
I literally just started. I just did my first game on my dynasty.
Oh shoot! Who you playing as? Arizona.
Arizona, of course.
Okay. Well,
I can't play as no SEC school.
No. Well, look. I wore it. I mean, I don't know if the majority of these people have played for the SEC. A lot of them have, but I mean. I didn't wear this shirt because I picked more SEC players to win the Heisman. I wore it simply because of the inclusivity that it brings out. Because I don't have like a college football shirt. This is the closest thing I have to it. So I just wore it to kind of be open and everything. But Nate, let's get into the first segment, Nate's necessary notes, because we're gonna actually skip swimming with the Loch Ness today. So if you forgot your pool floaties, I'm gonna give you a pass this time. So we're gonna get into our first segment of the show. Now, before we get into the really exciting part, I kind of got. Oh no! I didn't know that was replaying. I'm sorry. Before we get into the really exciting part of the episode, I need to kind of calm down a little bit. So we got to do like a kind of a low key segment, kind of a chill segment, so that we can get into the final segment and I can just bring it home. You know,
Okay.
because right now, I'm probably gonna get a single, a double. You know, we're gonna be chilling on the base. Might even have bases loaded. But whenever we get to that last segment and I'm behind the plate and I'm ready, looking at that pitch, I'm gonna hit a grand slam, Nate.
Let's hit it.
So we understand that now that training camp is underway and we're having all these camps and everything for new players, rookie players, and like some inexperienced players. We have contract negotiations to go through,
Yeah.
especially players that have finished their rookie deals, that are on the last year of the rookie deal, and they're like, hey, if I'm not staying in this place where you have seen the most success and the most potential and the most progression out of me, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we see this with a couple players, but more specifically, I want to target Packers star young quarterback Jordan Love. I want to target him specifically. I want to talk about what he could sign as a contract. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. He's not showing up to practice, Nate. He's not showing up. He hasn't said anything. When they asked Matt LaFleur to give us like a status on if Jordan Love was going to play or not, he said, I have no comment. I have no idea what's going on through Jordan Love's head. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if he wants to stay in Green Bay. I don't know if he's willing to go into contract negotiations with us. I have no idea. The man hasn't showed up. I haven't talked to the man. So, Nate, what goes on, especially when you have somebody that threw for the second most touchdowns last season with 32, only behind Mississippi State's own Dak Prescott with 36? Nate, tell me what it's like when your star quarterback, who's obviously took your team to the playoff and beat a number 2 seed in the playoffs as a number 7th ranked seed. Tell me what that looks like. Should Green Bay be scared? What's going on, Nate? And then we'll talk about Jordan Love's value.
I wouldn't necessarily say they should be scared, but you know, if he's sitting out of practices and whatnot, that means it's business. He wants to be compensated as one of the top tier quarterbacks in the game. I'm not going to lie, my personal feelings. He has a reason to demand, a new contract because of what he did during the playoffs. What he did to the Dallas Cowboys, wow. But the only problem with the whole ordeal with Jordan Love, we've seen 1 year of him he had an amazing year. We need consistency. You can't ask for, to be paid, be the top player or top at your position as far as a contract, if we haven't seen consistency from you. He had one really, really good year, but does that mean that he needs to be paid in the same likes of a Patrick Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson, guys of that proven caliber players and so forth? He has to have more than one good year. He has to build off of those good years. He did have a great playoff game. I mean, again, he brought that team. He willed that team to the playoffs as a number 7 seed. So you don't look past that. But at that same time, I mean, it's a little bit early, a little bit premature for you to be sitting out of practice and demanding a new contract, because now suppose they do give him a new contract, they give him top 5 money, and so forth. What if he comes back and has a dud the next year? There's a lot of things that are going to be, the conversations are going to be had, on topics, headlines, did they pay him too soon, or, and things like that. So it's a catch-22. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because again, for a fact, this team, with the new acquisitions to this team, the coming, was that Christian Watson? Is that the receiver's name? if I'm not mistaken, he's starting to come into his own, and they're developing a rapport. You just signed Josh Jacobs. You're in the NFC North, and you're competing with the likes of a Detroit Lions. We cannot sleep on the Minnesota Vikings or the Chicago Bears. And again, you want to make sure your floor general is signed, sealed, and delivered. Yet again, this is the caveat to it. Paying him too soon, because what if he comes back the next year and he has a dud? So it's a tough situation, to be honest with you. It's a tough situation because if I'm not mistaken, he just signed an extension not long ago.
Well, it would have to be a rookie extension, yeah.
Hold on, let's actually look if we can pull that up. Because he did sign an extension, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's go. He's 25 years old.
I don't know if he signed. He was on his rookie deal, so I don't know if he signed an extension.
You know what? In lieu of exercising his fifth-year option, he signed an incentive-laden one-year contract covering the 24 season, 22.5, covering this season. So it's he's under contract.
No,
he's under contract.
And am I wrong in this assumption? Like, hey, you just competed. Honestly, you competed for a Super Bowl spot. You beat the number 2 seed, played really good against the team that went to the Super Bowl for the NFC. You have to, this is a Super Bowl. You have to build your team to win a Super Bowl now. Yeah. Because this might be the only opportunity you have to win one.
Exactly.
Am I wrong in that assumption, Nate?
No, you're right.
Spot because on. You just competed. You basically just competed for one after only losing, 3 points to San Fran? 4 points to San Fran? Something like that.
It was like 4 points.
Yeah.
It was a good game. Very, very good game.
It was. But, we can see what Jordan Love's potential is. We can see what he brings.
Yes, we can see the potential. We see the potential, okay? But potential and reality. We saw Patrick Mahomes' potential his rookie year when he subbed in for Alex Smith for a couple games. We saw his potential, but then we actually got a chance to see the reality of it that next following year, when his first year being a starter, he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a league MVP. So, potential, reality. We see his potential. We see his potential again and peak towards the end of the year when it was time for them to go for that playoff push. We saw his potential. Then when they got in the playoffs, we seen it. Now, again, you build off of that. Again, this is one of the things and one of the tough situations in the NFL when guys, they have great years, and again, you want to capitalize off of that great year. Jordan Love is no different, and he's not wrong. He wants to capitalize off of showing, all the naysayers and the doubters that's saying that, the Packers were going to be trash without Aaron Rodgers. That he came in and he fared pretty well. He put up some good numbers, pretty decent numbers. But again, let's not get beside ourselves. That's 1 year. We need to see the rest of the resume.
And that's the dilemma with the Packers quarterback system. They let a quarterback sit behind a veteran, and they've done it for a minute. Think back about Aaron Rodgers' rookie deal. I'm sure they had a dilemma at that point.
Oh, yeah.
When you sit behind somebody for 3 years, you have 1 more year of your rookie deal, and then you have a 5th-year option. With their system, they have to say, okay, we're letting this guy sit behind somebody for 3 years. We got 1 year out of their rookie deal, and then we have a 5th-year option. Is this something that we are going to risk? Are we going to go all in on this quarterback and say, hey, even though you sat behind somebody for 3 years, you got that one good season, you're going to have another year on the contract. The Packers just have to say, hey, we're going to either invest in you or we're not. Because at the end of the day, it was the Packers' fault that they're in this situation because they decided to have Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay for 3 years while Jordan Love was signed to his rookie deal without him seeing the field. That's just how their court. Exactly. You can look back at Aaron Rodgers. They had the same issue with Aaron Rodgers back when Aaron Rodgers was on his rookie deal when Brett Favre was still with Green Bay. Both of them, even though we see the potential, let's talk about Jordan Love's value. Let's talk about what he can bring to the table. Does Jordan Love have the potential to sign a historic quarterback contract? Does he have the potential to be the highest paid QB in
Yes,
NFL
potential.
history?
Potential.
We just saw Trevor Lawrence sign the highest paid contract per year in NFL history. Can Jordan Love do the same?
Potentially, yes. He has the potential to do that. But I mean, let's go back. Let's go back. I want to go back. Because I don't want to spend too much time on this because we have a lot of stuff.
We have a lot to do. So we need to spend like a couple more minutes.
All right, Trevor Lawrence in particular. Trevor Lawrence. If I'm not mistaken, Trevor Lawrence had #1 overall draft pick. He had a Pro Bowl year in 22. It seems like he kind of regressed a little bit, just a little bit. They won 9-8 in 22 and went to the playoffs. He regressed a little bit. Now they gave him that huge, deal. After going 8-8, this is the problem. Are we paying them too soon? Are we getting enamored with 1 year? Are we getting enamored? We're getting enamored with 1 year when we need to see the body of work over a period of time. Let's see what the body of work is like over the course of your contract that you just had.
I think every single team in the NFL is trying to discover their very own Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
If you look back at that 10-year, $500 million contract that Patrick Mahomes signed, we were like, is this too soon? We were asking the same question, were we not, Nate? Is this too soon for this QB? That's the same question we're asking now. Obviously, it paid off for the Chiefs. It paid off for Kansas City. But these other teams have seen, hey, Kansas City is a dynasty right now. They are this generation's New England Patriots.
Yes.
We don't have Tom Brady. We don't have Bill Belichick anymore. We have
got
Andy Reid
and Patrick Mahomes.
So this is what teams are trying to do. Are the Packers going to be a dynasty? Are the Jaguars trying to create a dynasty? You need a quarterback to have a dynasty. You have to have a quarterback like Tom Brady, like Mahomes, maybe like Rodgers, even though he choked so many NFC championships, they still made it there. I mean, yeah, don't get MJ on that. But look, they're trying to discover there's Patrick Mahomes, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But when you sit behind somebody for 3 years, that's the risk you have to take. You either do it or you don't. Or you lose Jordan Love and let him go somewhere else. You either love him or you don't.
You're right. Let's go. You're right.
But Nate, I want to show you something that I really, really love before we get into our rant. And that is car insurance by Jeff Wertetny and Erie Insurance.
Here's to the grown-ups. Your car is now your office, stage, nursery. Shh, sorry. Erie Insurance offers products that lots of other companies don't. That's a big deal. And it's a good deal, too. And with Erie, you get your own independent agent, not a giant corporate call center or some online robot. You meet with a real person, like this.
Your local Erie agent is Building Block Insurance Group. Get a quote today at 704-464-4544.
Erie Insurance.
And when you call Jeff Wertetny at 704-464-4544, go ahead and ask him. I'm almost certain Jeff Wertetny is a Packers fan. Go ahead and ask him if he thinks Jordan Love should be the highest paid quarterback of all time. And see if his bias kicks in a little bit. But my bias is going to kick in here in just a second when I tell you that Jeff Wertetny's car insurance is the insurance you need to go with. I'm just saying that. But listen, do you hear something, Nate? I think I got something in my ear. I need to get it out just a second.
Oh, Pierre, you want to come out here?
Nate, you know that stuff. I'm ready to get a little messy with Nate Nessie because today, after 11 long years, 11 years of famine, 11 years of what could have been, what should have been, we finally have our new college football game. I would rather it be called NCAA 25, but regardless, I'm still there. Now, I want to introduce somebody because in that trip that I took to Starkville, I drove back and had a couple people in my car, and I had a conversation with one of them and said, "Hey, you made this idea. We talked about it. We gave each other really good opinions. But at the end of the day, you gave me this idea. You should be on the show for it." And so I want to introduce my buddy who does go to my rival school, Ole Miss. He goes there, unfortunately. But I want to introduce him. His name's Noah Broccoli. Noah, please get in here.
Thanks for having me, Connor.
Yes, I'm so excited.
What's up, Nate? Yeah, you like the mullet?
So let me make sure. Nate, I'm not too loud.
No, perfect.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Noah, you understand what everything is. We done set out the rules. I want you to explain the rules. Go into like say, hey, the last game that came out. Or you can use a game that you know. I don't know if you want to use DiNardo Robinson as your.
I'll use RG3 as my example. That's how I used when we were figuring
Let's
out.
not use DiNardo Robinson.
Yeah, he's irrelevant. Okay.
But let me pull up the rules. It's going to be in a ticker at the bottom. So for everybody joining in who wants to see the show, if you're getting here a little late, here are the rules at the bottom. It'll be here the entire segment. So Noah, take it away. Let us know what the rules are for the show and the segment.
Yeah, so basically the way this works is for an athlete to be considered for our cover, they had to have already graduated college, right? Up until the year of 2022 when NIL was introduced, because they couldn't have current players on the cover because of NIL not existing. And they also can't have yet played in the NFL. So they have to be put on the cover pretty much in between college and the NFL. So for example, when RG3 was on the cover for NCAA 13, right? He had his last year was the 2011 college season. Then he got put on the cover in the summer of 2012. And then the game was called 13. So we're kind of looking at 3 years here for every cover.
But it is before he had played his rookie season.
Okay.
It's the year. Okay, so it's the year before the game. The players for the basically from the year before, right?
Yeah,
It's kind
of tricky because it's 2012, but it's going to be NCAA 13.
Yes.
So he will play his first NFL season in 2012, but the game will come out before the 2012 season, but be called NCAA 13.
Yeah, it's confusing. It's intricate. We looked at some articles that were looking at this same question, and a lot of them had it wrong. They didn't understand how it worked. But if you look at it, there was a precedent set on how it worked.
Wait, so does that same thing apply for Madden then?
Well, no, because Madden, there wasn't the NIL problem.
Yeah, and they had players on Madden. So, somebody would have one really good year, like Peyton Hillis, and then they'd be put on the cover the next year. So it's not really – it's a little bit different than Madden and NCAA. Gotcha. But, so we stopped with NCAA 14. We had DiNardo Robinson, who was a Michigan player, playing on the cover, which – Nate, if you know who DiNardo Robinson and what he really did in the NFL, please be free to share.
Because he played at Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken.
He played in Jacksonville.
He the one that got smacked by Jadeveon Clowney, wasn't he?
He is the one that got smacked by Jadeveon.
Oh, that
the Outback, the Outback Bowl. It was like the Outback
really?
Bowl. Yes. And he was supposed to be the next coming of Michael Vick, this big dual threat quarterback, go to the NFL. He goes to NFL, he gets switched to running back. So you to each his own, but Noah and I was left with NCAA 15. So we had to take into consideration somebody who played the 2013 season but got drafted in 2014. Okay, so this is somebody who played their 2013 year, who was preferably we would like seniors because this is where they showed the most. Mm-hmm. And we thought of, oh my gosh, the greatest play, the greatest moment in college football history happened in 2013. Nate, what was that called?
Oh, snap. Iron Bowl.
Okay, but what was the play called?
Kick,
You're there. You're there.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
We'll show you.
The kick six. So
Kick six.
imagine, Nate, that you pull up NCAA 15. Look, and this is what pulls up when it says click any button. Imagine that you're playing NCAA 15 and this exact play pulls up as we're waiting to load in.
Imagine the aura.
Just what's pulling up. Like we see Chris Davis take a kick to beat Nick Saban's Dynasty Alabama, the greatest football program to ever breathe on this earth. Number 4 ranked Auburn Tigers takes a game-winning field goal to the house to become, and look, Auburn went to the national
Look at that hit
championship
right there.
They went to the national championship because of this game. They were ranked number 4 in the country. If they did not do this, they don't go and play in the BCS.
Yeah, that's Jameis Winston's Heisman Trophy year, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But Jameis Winston was not yet a senior. So we did not consider Jameis Winston for the 2013 season because Jameis Winston was not a senior at this time.
Okay.
So we started looking
at Auburn
players. Right? And so we said, okay, well, Chris Davis took the kick six, but Chris Davis was a return man. We don't really want to put him on the cover, but then we started looking. Noah, do you want to tell everybody who this man is?
So this is who we found to represent Auburn. Trey Mason.
Trey Mason, the running back.
Probably the greatest Auburn running back of all time.
Whoa.
Crazy season.
So
maybe even better than Bo Jackson. No, explain.
Whoa, look, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know. No, that's an opinion, all right. But like he did some stuff that year. He had, he was SEC Offensive Player of the Year, first team All-American, basically every running back award you could have. And in the SEC championship game, he set the record for the most rush yards in an SEC game.
The
touchdowns, the rushing touchdowns record, the rushing attempts record. He had the record for the most rush yards in a season at Auburn that year. He set the tone for the entire Auburn.
He set the tone.
And this was going to be our locked-in pick. Like this, for me, it was like, okay, Trey Mason's locked in. This is who is on NCAA 15. And then Noah told me, what if we had the second coming of Jesus Christ in the 2013 season and we did not know it?
And matter of fact, there was college football Jesus down in College Station, and we forgot completely about him.
You forgot about John Manziel?
We're talking about the one and only Money Manziel. This is who is on your NCAA 15 game cover. It's Money Manziel with this exact pose. Imagine you get your new cover of NCAA 15 in the summer of 2014, and you're so stoked, and you see this on your cover, Nate. You can't tell me you're not buying this video game.
I can't tell you that because that's a lie. I'm buying it.
This video game is bought. This guy is on your TV screen. But we did get to thinking, well, the kick six is probably the greatest moment of college football.
And you know what?
It has to be the intro video for the game.
Between the kick six and you get it. I don't think because it's a rivalry game too at that. I mean, I won't say it's the greatest moment in college football because I still would say I will beg to argue the greatest moment was Vince Young running the touchdown. That touchdown.
Ooh, that's up there.
It's up there, but for me, it's not kick six. I can't put it kick six. I watched the kick six. I was like 1 year old when Vince.
We're also SEC fans.
Yeah,
that's part of it.
And we're SEC fans, and watching a rivalry like the Iron Bowl happen. Obviously, that's probably the greatest national championship game ever played. Was that 2005 game, USC versus Texas?
Yeah.
But it doesn't capture what us as Southern football fans love. And that's a rivalry game. There is nothing more heated in the South when Ole Miss comes to Starkville or State goes to Oxford, you have people parking on top of each other to go to that game. You have people sleeping on floors of restaurants to go to that game. It is just something on another level. And for that reason, the rivalry goes on top of the national championship game. And really, that could have been a national championship game.
Yeah.
So let's go on into NCAA 16. So, Nate, we looked at the 2014 year season, and we were like, well, what can we do here? And so there's a lot of players we looked at, and first of all, we looked at Melvin Gordon, and Melvin Gordon was crazy. He was the
guy.
He was the guy. He was literally the guy.
He had an even better season than Trey Mason. It was Trey Mason's season the year before turned up on like steroids.
But you want to know something? Trey Mason, he'll get more notoriety because of where he played at.
100%.
He played in the SEC, so those games were more. You're going against guys that's on the defensive side that are SEC. Let's just be honest. The SEC puts in how many first round draft picks? At minimum 7, 8 first draft picks every year.
Yeah, half the first round.
Half the first round is SEC. So we have to take into consideration that aspect. Now, Melvin Gordon, nothing against him, but Wisconsin is known for producing running backs.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't discredit the fact that, and we're not gonna punish them, but at that same time, Wisconsin is known for producing backs. Ron Dane, if I'm not mistaken, what's the running back from Indianapolis? What's his name?
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor went to Wisconsin, didn't he?
He did.
He did.
Wisconsin is known for that's a running back. That's running back you. So, but yes, I'm listening.
Okay, read out his stats, Noah, because this is something that was crazy that has to be on a cover, right? Read it out.
Yeah. So, just like with Trey Mason, every running back award you can imagine, he won. Every Big Ten MVP Offensive Player of the Year, he won. But like his records were even more crazy than Trey Mason's. He set the record for the most rush yards in a game with 408. He did that in 3 quarters. 3 quarters.
Damn.
It got broken the next week.
Hey, who were they playing?
Oh, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. But no, Nebraska. Actually, I could tell you. It's in 3 quarters against Nebraska. It got broken the next week, but he had that record for a week.
If he plays 4 quarters, that record's never broken.
Yeah. He would have had 500 yards. Also, if he had played that 4th quarter, he would have the record for the most rushing yards in a season because he was 41 yards shy of Barry Sanders.
He was like really close to Barry's. He was really close to Barry's record.
Mm-hmm. He had 2,587 yards. Just an overall crazy season.
Well, we had to think about it, and yes, this is another one of our Trey Mason dilemmas.
We had to rob another running back.
We had to rob another running back because when you look at it, Madden has precedent sets. NCAA has precedent sets. We had to look and say, okay, well, how far away? There's so many good people, so we might have to make a double cover. Does Melvin Gordon belong on a double cover with another athlete? So we look at Madden and we say, okay, well, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes were on a double cover. Larry Fitz and Troy Polamalu were on a double cover. How far away was NCAA 16 and that double cover of Madden? It's not that far away. But when we look at it, Barry Sanders and Robert Griffin III were both on a cover of NCAA together. So we have that precedent set. We can say, hey, we're making a double cover this season. But is Melvin Gordon on it? And the answer to that is no. There are 2 even better players than Melvin Gordon that season. Noah, would you like to tell us who those 2 players are?
Those 2 players are Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. 2 players that had their destinies throughout college and even into the NFL intertwined. And if there was ever going to be 2 players that belong on that cover together, it's got to be Jameis and Marcus Mariota.
Oh, okay, so what's the okay? Because did they play in the national championship? No, they didn't play in the national championship.
It was the first college football playoff game ever that they played against each other in.
And it was a bout. It was a memorable game for sure. I mean, You can't have one without the other. When it comes to Jameis Winston, you have to have Marcus Mariota. You can't have peanut butter without jelly. This is just how it's going to be. I got to thinking, well, we can do a console-only thing like they did in NCAA, and we're just like, no, we need to do another double cover. This makes sense. These two players are so knitly woven together. It is crazy, especially going to the NFL. They were together, number 1 and number 2 picks. Both were Heismans.
Back-to-back
Heismans. Back-to-back national championship winners. You just can't have one without the other. So for NCAA 16, you have Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota on the cover, and that's just it.
That's it. That's perfect.
So we get to NCAA 17. Let's do this. Let me have a banner for it. NCAA 17. And this is where it gets tricky because we have, Nate, this might be 2015 season might be the greatest running back season in college football. If you can remember running backs of that season, can you remember any big running backs that you can think of off the top of your head in the 2015 season?
Well,
Think about
Derrick Henry was coming out that year, didn't he?
Yes,
sir.
He won
Derrick
the Heisman
Henry?
that year.
Derrick Henry, was it Christian McCaffrey?
Yep.
Yeah,
there was
Christian
about
McCaffrey.
4 or 5.
There's about 4 of them.
Not Heisman votes.
Jonathan Taylor. Wasn't Jonathan Taylor? Did he come out that year?
I don't think so. It was Dalvin Cook,
Dalvin Cook.
McCaffrey. It was Ezekiel Elliott, and there was
Ezekiel
one
Elliott.
really good one. I can't remember who was it. Oh man, I know it all. I know
It's somebody. I don't
it's
remember.
somebody
either.
good that was real good in the NFL.
But the point is,
regardless, for me, Nate, we just saw Ohio State go to and win the first ever national championship game of the college football playoff era. So for me, it was like, okay, well, we have to put Zeke on the cover. He was instrumental, especially when you have a backup quarterback come in like Cardale Jones after having your starting quarterback injured. Think about it. You have somebody coming in. This is another Doug Williams story. Who has to put pressure off that quarterback that's coming in other than Ezekiel Elliott? He was instrumental in that game. He did exactly what he was supposed to for Cardale Jones to be comfortable, to pass perfectly in the pocket, and to secure a first ever college football playoff national championship. So for me, it was easy. It was Ezekiel Elliott. But, sir?
Remember, Zeke ran over Alabama.
Yes, they did, which is why it was either Derrick Henry or Zeke. And I was like, well, you honestly have to give it to the person that won the award for the best player in college football.
And he fought for Zeke. We argued about
We
this
did
one.
argue about this one.
But Derrick Henry was just plainly dominant that year.
Derrick Henry was the best player in college football.
Easily.
Easy.
And it's the SEC bias too. We got to look at it and be like, SEC makes more money. More people are going to buy this.
If Derrick Henry's on the cover. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, also we didn't just look at it from a fan perspective. We looked at it as if we were executives of EA in that office room. We think about it. We have the glass walls all around us in that big conference table. We're getting a lackey to fetch us coffee, and we're saying, hey, who is on the next cover of college football? So for NCAA 17, the cover was easy. It's your Heisman winner, Derrick Henry, your 2015 Heisman winner. He broke a 2,200-yard rushing record. I mean, it was easy at this point, and that's all I can say about that. Nate, do you agree?
I agree.
Okay, well, let's keep going because we have NCAA 18, and for this, Noah and I also argued about this one because he did not understand the greatness of this player that we're about to talk about. But, I don't know if I've said this on the show. My mom's from Clemson, so we looked at Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was one of the first guys to really ever break that Saban dynasty. I mean, he did it with the stellar defense. He did it with the stellar offense, and he was kind of Dabo Swinney's right-hand man. I mean, he came in and did phenomenal, and he's probably he is a top 50 college quarterback of all time. That is not easily. He's easily probably top 25 if I had to say, but it just wasn't Deshaun Watson's time because hindsight's 2020. There is somebody that just might be a little bit better when it comes to college football.
Arguably the third coming of college football Jesus.
Probably the third coming of college football Jesus. But then we looked at probably one of the greatest return men of college history, D.D. Westbrook. Okay, and we were like, oh my gosh, this guy was making people look silly. This was Devin Hester in college, Nate. This guy was crazy at Oklahoma, especially. I mean, yeah, I know. He was crazy. I mean, Oklahoma, I think they went to the playoffs this season.
They did.
If I'm not mistaken, they went to the playoffs.
And he was the best player.
And he was the best player on the team, easily. He was, even though Oklahoma had stellar college quarterbacks, this was before Baker, this was before Kyler Murray, and D.D. Westbrook was the man. And then I got to looking, and I said, wait, there is somebody that is just that much better as a return man, as his position. You cannot put D.D. Westbrook on this cover. Nate, if you look back to the 2017 college football season, who is a name that you remember loud and proud that was called on NFL draft night as one of the top 5 picks in that draft? Do you remember? Are we on the same wavelength here? Who is it, Nate?
Okay, top 5 in 2018.
Would it'd be the 17 draft.
17 draft?
Yes. Think about it. Defensive player went crazy.
Top 5?
He was a top 5 draft.
Are we sure about that?
I watched. It was the same draft class as Bradley Chubb, I think. And Bradley Chubb went top 5.
Khalil Mack?
No. Khalil Mack was like 2014, Nate. That is way too old.
Get your head out of the gutter.
Get your head out the gutter. Quit glazing.
Quit glazing.
Nate, let me show you this picture to refresh your memory. I want to introduce to you somebody named Mr. Jabril Peppers.
Speaking of glazing.
Noah, why did we pick a Michigan player?
Because EA loves to glaze Michigan players. At this point, Michigan players have been on the covers of these games more than anyone. I think we had 2, and these games had not been around that long, right?
Yeah.
Desmond Howard, Charles Woodson, and then now to this
Denardo
year.
Robinson.
Oh, Denardo Robinson. And now, who's the other irrelevant guy from Michigan on 25? Donovan Edwards. These people love Michigan, and they hate some Ohio State. That's another reason we didn't put Zeke on earlier. They hate Ohio State. They love Michigan. And Jabril Peppers was crazy that year.
Let me tell you a little bit about Jabril Peppers, Nate, to kind of refresh your memory. This was a Lott Trophy winner. He was the best safety in all of college football. He was a 2-time All-American, a Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Look, Nate, look at me. Look at me, Nate. Look at me. Come here.
I'm looking.
Come here. He did not just – D.D. Westbrook was good. This guy was even better. He won Big Ten Return Specialist of the Year and was 2-time All-Big Ten. But you want to know even something crazier, Nate? Come here. Something even crazier. This guy was a strong safety in college. Do you want to know the award he won at Michigan? He won the Big Ten Award for the best linebacker in the country as a safety. For Michigan's scheme to put him up in a linebacker position every once in a while, it wasn't like he was playing linebacker every snap. He was so good at what he was going to do that he took a linebacker Big Ten award from multiple good linebackers that season. That's how good
multiple
Jabril
NFL
Peppers.
linebackers.
Yes, that's how good Jabril freaking Peppers was in college. And for this guy not to make the cover of NCAA 18 would be straight blasphemy. It would be sacrilegious.
I know for a fact he would have been. I'm so sure about this one. They love Michigan. They glaze Michigan. Quit glazing me.
Yes. We would be sitting in our executive offices, Nate, with our glass walls and windows, not even thinking about
We'd be
this decision.
salivating at the fact that Michigan had a player this good.
Our mouths would be open, drool would be falling out, and the only 2 words we would say that entire day of this decision would be Jabril Peppers. What do you think?
I like Jabril Peppers, but he wasn't his game didn't translate into the NFL. But I mean,
but we're not talking about NFL. Think about it. This is before the rookie.
Yeah, okay.
He hasn't played a snap.
He hasn't played a snap.
Okay.
Hindsight's 2020.
I like it. I like it.
Hindsight's 2020.
I like
So
it.
let's go into NCAA 19. And Nate, let's keep the Big Ten wavelength. Let's keep it going. And we thought Saquon was a surefire pick here. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
Saquon's a surefire pick, right? He was probably the 3rd overall pick in the draft that year.
He was second.
I know.
Second.
Like Saquads. That's what they called him. His legs were crazy.
Hey, skies out, thighs out. Skies out, thighs out.
Exactly. But Nate, there was a guy that had been in the Heisman finalist voting for 3 years in a row, who I like to say is the epitome of college football. Nate, do you know who I'm referring to?
He was a Heisman Trophy finalist for 3 years in a row.
And he finally won it.
He
the
won
third
it.
year.
He won it. Think
What
about
is
it.
Yeah. The essence of college football.
This
He
is
was a
the
walk-on.
essence.
He went from being a walk-on to the best player in college football.
The maker. They call him Baker.
Baker Mayfield. Think about this, Nate. If you had NCAA 19 written across your cover and saw Baker planting the Oklahoma flag, what would you think?
Is he selling insurance?
No, he's not selling insurance, Nate.
No, if I see Baker Mayfield, I see it's fire.
Look, this guy walked on to Texas Tech, was not good enough to start at Texas Tech, so went to a even better college program, became their starter, fought for that competition. I mean,
in the research for this video, we found out they made an entire rule called the Baker Mayfield rule to allow him to like transfer interconference like as soon as he did. It was like, it's crazy.
So the rule for transferring back then was if somebody was on scholarship, they could transfer, but they would have to sit out a year. Well, Baker was a walk-on. He did not get a scholarship from Texas Tech, so he transferred. Well, he had to appeal the decision of him having to sit out a year and say, hey, I wasn't on scholarship. I was purely a walk-on. I am the freaking epitome of college football. I'm going to Oklahoma as a starter. I'm going to win the Heisman in 3 years and become a finalist for the Heisman all 3 of those years. I am your guy at Oklahoma. I'm a Heisman Award, a Maxwell Walter Camp Award, a Davey O'Brien Award. I won a Manning Award, 2-time Burroughsworth Award given to the best college walk-on in the country. He won it twice. He was a 2-time Kellen Moore Award. It's just too much
There's
to
like
read.
5 more things on this
read.
list.
He was too good at what he was able to do. So for Baker to not make a Heisman would just be too bad. So Baker makes the cover for NCAA 19, and that brings us to NCAA 20.
We're gonna sound a little crazy, like a little schizophrenic for this one.
Yeah,
I
this
think.
one might be crazy. Nate,
But we kind of gotta take you back a little bit to explain our reasoning. Do we have a picture?
I think this is NCAA 07.
No,
it's
go
not.
back a year.
Was
go
it 6?
Year.
No,
it must have been 8.
Was it 8?
It has to have been 8.
Yes, it was 8. Nate, who was on the cover of NCAA 8? I know you played this in your college dorm with Earl Mitchell. Who was on that cover, Nate?
2008?
Yes.
And I bet you don't know.
It's like the only group of 5 person to make. Oh shoot. Are we glitching? It's the only group of 5 person to make a college football cover. Think about it.
This guy did not even play a snap in the NFL.
Well, to make his solo cover, I'm pretty sure like that one year that fullback made it, he was on a group of 5 team. But
he might have been on like
Owen Schmidt or whatever. But
yeah, but that's not the point.
NCAA 08, Nate. Who was on the cover? Think about it. What team did he play for? You remember?
Noel Devine?
Who?
Was it Noel Devine? No.
No, think about it. What team did he play for? You know it. It's in your head right now.
No, it's not, because nobody knows this guy.
Boise State, Nate. It was a Boise State quarterback.
N. Johnson or the quarterback. N. Johnson or the quarterback. If it wasn't Kellen Moore, damn, it's not Kellen Moore. It wasn't N. Johnson.
Freaking Jared Zabransky, Nate.
I'm about to ask her right now. Who's on the cover of College Football 08? I'm about to ask her. Like she would know.
This man, Jared Zabransky, never played a snap in the NFL, barely spent a cup of coffee in the CFL, yet they had the audacity to put this man on the cover of NCAA 08.
Hold on, I'm getting a picture.
Which tells you that EA was willing sometimes, every once in a while, once in a blue moon, willing to put whoever on these covers.
And Zabransky made the cut. Like, look at this, Nate. This was on your college football 08 cover. This guy right here in this exact form. This is the picture they used for the cover. Jared Zabransky. So this is what we like to call our Zabransky year of football. So if we look back into 2019 season, this is 2018 season. If we look back to the 2018 season, this is when TikTok emerged. Well, there was a specific song on TikTok that was just going crazy. Nate, if I sang the song, would you know this? Throw it on a dime, like I ain't even trying. Just a kid from Briarwoods, I'm wearing number 9. And Coach Franklin down in Bandy, flip the Happy Valley. Now it's coming back, got the money on my mind. They can't touch my deep ball. Every game I'm scoring.
Whoa.
They call me
Trace McSorley, Nate.
No.
This was going to be our Zabransky year.
No, you said something in that. You said, can't touch my deep ball. And I'm like, wait a minute. You didn't say no.
No Diddy, Nate. No Diddy.
No Nessie.
No Nessie.
Quit lazing me.
Nate, Trace McSorley, this is our Zabransky, right? This is our Zabransky.
Because we looked at the 2018 college football season, there was not a lot of special guys that year. We had Kyler Murray, but we can't put an Oklahoma quarterback back to back. That has never happened before. They haven't even put Michigan players back to back before. There's no way.
They're going to start with Oklahoma.
And outside of that, there is no one exciting. We looked at every award winner that year. We looked at every single person in the Heisman voting, and there just wasn't a lot of guys to look at. So we considered Trace McSorley. We considered a couple other guys like Will Greer. But we ended up going with a different viral sensation that was also a quarterback.
Nate, for your cover of NCAA 20, does this picture ring a bell?
Oh, man, God rest that man's soul.
It's Minshew Mania, baby. Mississippi's own. He broke Pac-12 records on Pac-12 records. He broke a Pac-12 passing yards record and a Pac-12 completion record. He was Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year and Pac-12 First Team. He was 5th in Heisman voting. For your cover of NCAA 20, this is our Zabransky year. It goes to Washington State, Gardner Minshew. And I want Minshew Mania written everywhere on this cover. Even though it didn't happen yet, I don't think that happened until this is pre-Minshew Mania.
We're changing history. We're making Minshew Mania start 6 months earlier.
Nate, who else would you have on the cover of college football this year?
Besides from Kyler Murray.
I don't have nobody else.
You don't have, exactly. So that's why Minshew makes the cover of college NCAA 20.
He'll be like a little fun trivia fact, like Jared Zabransky for like the rest of time. Because every once in a while, a Zabransky falls down from heaven and graces the cover of our college football game.
So for NCAA 21, Nate, this was a pretty, we did not have to research this. This was pretty well.
Cut and dry.
This was cut and dry. Like, the number 2 overall pick in the draft, Chase Young, we were like, okay, this is the guy, right? I mean, this guy was everywhere on the field. You couldn't get away from Chase Young. But, Nate, let's be for real. Who emerged in 2019 and had probably the greatest season any player has ever had in college?
In 2019?
Yes.
Come on.
You know, Nate.
The greatest season
ever.
Devontae Smith.
No, that's 2020.
Look, Nate, for your cover of NCAA 21, it's Joey freaking Burrow.
Oh, snaps. You know what? That's why I asked y'all earlier. It's throwing me off the years.
It is throwing you off. It's throwing you off
the years.
The years are.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's difficult.
Because like Madden is a year removed from the name of the game, but like this is like 2 years removed from the name of the game. It is very strange.
But imagine this on NCAA 21. Joe Burrow, he was the Heisman Trophy. He won the Heisman Trophy in the biggest voting landslide ever. He had 1,800 points over Jalen Hurts. We know how special Jalen Hurts was in college. And he had just over 5,600 yards and broke an NCAA record with 60 passing touchdowns and 65 total touchdowns.
5,600 yards is actually just his passing yards. Total, if we look at passing, rushing, and even receiving, he caught one pass from himself that year. He had over 6,000 yards that season total. 65 touchdowns. You do not see that.
Probably the greatest. I can't call him the greatest quarterback ever, but I can say
but that was the greatest season for a quarterback.
It was the greatest season, but I can't call him. It was 1 year. I can't.
I'm not at a space where I can actually give. I can't say he had a better year, because I mean people sleep on Cam Newton's year, or Tim Tebow.
I actually read an article comparing Cam Newton and Joe Burrow's year, like right before this video, and it doesn't even it compares. But it's not even close. Like Cam Newton had like 500 less total yards than Joe Burrow that year, which is and like 10 less touchdowns.
But then we gotta go over this. You look at all the talent wise, Cam's year was amazing. But then Tim Tebow?
Yeah, that's
Tim Tebow.
That's for an entire career.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
it's
what I'm
Tebow.
saying.
But for one season,
look at this cover, Nate. NCAA.
That will be the sickest cover in college football history.
That's what I'm saying. This is NCAA 21. Think about it. Once you win the national championship, you can go smoke a cigar with Coach O. We'll implement that in the game.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. I mean, you just can't disagree with Joe.
I can't disagree with that one. I got to rock. Hey, listen, that's unanimous right there. That would be the code. That gotta be.
Well, let's go to 22, Nate. NCAA 22. You said it earlier. Devonta Smith was the man, right? I mean, it's been 29 years since a wide receiver had won Heisman last. So we were like, this has to be the guy. I mean, he had two teammates who got Heisman votes that year as well, and still beat him. I mean, they like Mac
Jones and Najee.
Oh, and Najee, I didn't know that.
They both got
votes. They both got votes, and Devonta Smith still beat them. But we said that there was somebody even better, who is the second coming of Johnny Manziel,
the next football Jesus.
He
looks too. He got that
looks
long
like
hair.
it too. He looks
you
like
know
it
who
too.
We're talking about.
Nate, who's on the cover of NCAA 22? Why didn't we put Deshaun Watson on the cover?
Because he was before his time, and he was before his time. But Trevor Lawrence was that guy. Trevor Lawrence,
Because at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence is more marketable than Devonta Smith. If we put ourselves back in that big glass conference room, the EA execs, have been salivating at the mouth for 4 long years, waiting for Trevor Lawrence to just hurry up and get to his senior season, finish him up, so we can put him on the cover of this game and make like $3 billion off this game, because everybody and their mama is buying this. Because everybody and their mama love Trevor Lawrence.
They love Trevor Lawrence, especially what he did to Nick Saban in the national championship. They love him.
Oh yeah, I loved it too. It was so
they loved him for what he did to Nick.
Mm-hmm. He did it as a sophomore, Nate. He did it as a freaking sophomore.
No, he didn't. He did that as a freshman.
Yeah, freshman.
Well, I must be mistaken.
I think he did it because he won 2, right?
No,
he won 1. He won.
No, he went to
2018. Yeah, he went to 2 because he lost to Joe Burrow the next year.
Mm-hmm.
No, he didn't lose to Joe Burrow. He got his ass whooped. There's a big difference.
No, because before halftime it was like
that was the weakest we had ever seen that LSU.
But
team
let
for a
Noah,
little while.
Noah. That national championship was Trevor Lawrence's what?
First loss. Oh yeah, that is like a documented fact. That Trevor Lawrence did not lose a game in elementary school. He did not lose a game in Pee Wee, not in middle school, not in freaking high school. And then this man goes his entire college career is literally football Jesus. This man is untouchable and does not lose a football game until his sophomore or junior year, whatever, of college against Joe Burrow. Literally football Jesus. You cannot match that.
I mean, he got his butt whooped by the guy who had the greatest season ever. But let's be for real, that was his first loss of his entire football career ever. He had played football. He had played football for 21 years, Nate.
Wait. He lost his. Was that his sophomore year? They lost to LSU.
Must have been his sophomore year.
I think no, because if I remember correctly, he sat a year behind Deshaun Watson, won his sophomore year because I watched just about.
No. He didn't sit behind Deshaun. He came in the year after Deshaun left, and he had to. He was splitting time with who was the court? Was it Taj Boyd that was there?
No, Taj Boyd was before Deshaun.
Okay, it was whoever the quarterback was.
I remember. It was Kelly Bryant. Because Kelly Bryant had lost his spot and then transferred to Vandy. I remember.
Weren't we talking about Taj Boyd last night?
Yeah, we were talking about Taj Boyd.
But the cool thing about it was Kelly Bryant didn't even have a bad year. He didn't have a bad year. It's just what that team, Trevor Lawrence was what that team needed.
If not many people can say they won a national championship as a freshman, but not just winning a national championship as a freshman, he beat the greatest football program ever.
He beat a guy that don't lose.
He beat somebody that don't lose, but guess what? Trevor Lawrence don't lose either. He don't lose either because that entire year, he didn't lose a single game. And still didn't lose a game after. This is Trevor Lawrence's year. He's on the cover, and we're going to NCAA 23. Now, this is the year that is, think about it, this is the year that is the last year of NIL. This is before NIL. This is the last year before we get to NIL, because if we look at it, this is the 2021 season. NIL wasn't into effect until before the 2022 season.
It was like signed in 2021, and it wasn't kind of like fully organized until 2022.
Yes.
We did some heavy research.
Yeah, we did some
research. We were looking at laws and crap.
We are the execs, Nate. We are in our glass rooms.
EA.
We are EA. So, for college football 23, we thought, well, maybe we can have a double cover, or maybe we can have a whole team on a cover. Guess who went undefeated and made the playoffs as a group of 5 team that year, Nate?
Oof.
Cincinnati Bearcats. Desmond Ritter, Jerome
Do
Ford.
your Desmond Ritter impression. That's our opening. This
is our intro. This is our intro for the thing. This is our intro. Think of I'm Desmond Ritter. Hey, I'm Desmond Ritter, the quarterback for the University of Cincinnati, and I want you to play college football. NCAA 23 with my team on the cover, who went to the college football playoffs, the only undefeated group of 5 team to do so.
Not even Zabransky.
Not even Zabransky can do that. Zabransky can't even freaking do that. Zabransky can't touch Desmond Ritter. Jerome Ford tore both his ACLs for this freaking team. He went to Alabama, tore one of his ACLs, tore another ACL the second season in Alabama, and guess what? They didn't want him anymore. But guess who wanted him? Like Jared Goff with Detroit, like Jared Goff with the Lions. Cincinnati wanted Jerome Ford. He came in with Desmond Ritter, the aura this team produced.
He had Sauce on that team.
Sauce was on that team.
Who's the other
Kobe
corner?
Bryant was on that team. And we thought Kobe Bryant had passed away, but we were mistaken. This guy was still alive, just in the form of a Cincinnati cornerback. But Nate, we just said that EA loves to glaze Michigan. And we had somebody who was the greatest defensive player this year who happened to go to the University of Michigan, and we just can't pass that if we're EA.
Because this is the year of defenders. We had our year of running backs. There was crazy defenders that year. We had
Jordan Davis and Will Anderson.
and Aiden Hutchinson.
Our
They
cover.
split the major like defensive player of the year awards 3 ways that year. But we had to go with Aiden Hutchinson because of the Michigan Glaze.
So Aiden Hutchinson is on our cover of NCAA 23, which brings us to actually not NCAA 24. This is the first year of NIL. This is college football 24. And Nate, let me tell you something real quick. We had a guy who won the Heisman the previous year.
Hey, Connor, hold on. Hey, Connor. Hey, this is my sister right here. Have you ever met my sister?
No, I haven't.
Here.
Hi.
That's my sister.
How are you?
Good. How are
I'm Nate's younger brother.
So we all kinfolk now.
We kinfolk. We
Okay.
I'm Nate's younger brother's third cousin.
Okay. So you must be younger than me then. So okay. Nice to meet you, sweetie.
Nice to meet you. But Nate, we're on college football 24. This is the first year NIL is established. So we look at current players that played in the season of 2020.
Yep. Oh wow.
Hey, when you think of 2023, who's the guy you think of? Who's the guy that comes to mind? He just got drafted #1 overall. It's Caleb Williams, right?
Oh, I'm thinking Caleb Williams.
But look. When you think of Caleb Williams, you're thinking, okay, well, this guy won a Heisman, right? He has to be on the cover because there's Heisman bias. Not for EA. You want me to tell you what the bias we have at EA is? As the execs in our glass wall room with our coffee tables, getting our lackeys to get our coffee, we are sitting at this conference room and saying Caleb Williams did not deserve to be on the cover of EA and does not deserve to be on the cover of College Football 24. Why? Because he didn't just lose to Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. He didn't just lose to a Group of 5 team in the Cotton Bowl. He has never beaten Utah in his entire career and has never beaten a top 10 college football team in his entire college career. So for him to be on the cover of College Football 24 would be disrespectful. So he does not be on the cover. Nate, who were you thinking of earlier?
I ain't putting him on there. I'll put Marvin Harrison Jr. on there.
And that's who I thought too. Until I looked at somebody that had won 2 national championships and just about did it by himself. Nate, the cover of College Football 21 isn't Caleb Williams. It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. because this is the first year of NIL. It's Brock Bowers out of Georgia.
Wowzers.
And you can argue, you can say what you want. This was an easy decision for me. Noah had kind of a dilemma when he came up with this. It couldn't be Caleb Williams. Nobody was talking about Caleb Williams in college until we got the draft came up. This was strictly Brock Bowers' team. I mean, he did a lot for that Georgia team when they went to the playoffs. Let's think about it.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it, but Brock Bowers for me is the guy. So, Nate, as we end off this segment, as we go into it, we have one more thing for you. We want you to tell us who is on the cover of College Football 26 for this coming season. Once 25 ends and we have a current player, so think about it. It can't be anybody that graduated because all the people on the cover have now graduated. It has to be somebody that is very good now that will still be in college the next year.
And be good next year.
Yes. So do you have anybody in mind whenever I say those words?
They're going to be in college next year, like even
next year he's got to be in college. He can't graduate this year because he's got to be on the cover. He's got to be in the game. And we're EA right now, so we can make this happen. Nate, do you want me to tell you who I think should be on the cover of College Football 26?
Oh.
And you're going to be very, very happy. No, Nate, who is this? This is your cover of College.
Give us our respect. Give us our respect.
This is your cover of College Football 26. This is Noah Fafita.
I don't even know who this is.
As a true freshman, Noah Fafita took the Arizona, they're the Wildcats, right, Nate?
Yes.
They took the Arizona Wildcats not just to I think they went to the conference championship. I can't remember. But he didn't just take them to a historic season. I mean, although they did lose to State in the beginning of the season at overtime and start, but I mean, we could talk about that.
No,
they were ranked in the top 20 of the country, number 16, and they won their playoff game with Noah Fafita behind center. So this guy, he joined as a backup to Jaden DeLaura, but took over in week 4 when Laura got injured against Stanford. He had a 67-yard go-ahead touchdown drive in the fourth quarter to beat Stanford 21-20. Talk about aura. When you come in as a quarterback, as a true freshman, and you want to set the tone, you want to put your feet in the ground and say, hey, I'm your guy from here on out until I graduate, until I leave. Noah Fafita is the guy. He went on and led Arizona to a 21-20 victory in his first season, and then got his week start for his first career start against Washington the next week. He did really good, but they just lost because, I mean, it was Washington. When you think of somebody that's going to be good this next season, that was good last season as a true freshman, it's got to be Noah Fafita. And Nate, I knew I was going to make you happy with that, but I mean, you can't really argue with it, can you? You went to
No, I can't.
But tell me that's not who's going to be on your college football 26.
Yeah, right.
Let me give you another good look. Soak it in. This is college football 26, baby.
Yeah. Give us our respect.
Hey, we got to. So, Nate, I know we got a little excited, but I need to do a brief. I mean, we can't end the show unless.
Oh yeah, we got to end it the right way. You know,
we got to end it the right way. So let me.
Over here washing dishes, about to spend some time with the missus. You know.
Mm-hmm. Let me set the tone.
You know, come say hi to the guy.
We channel my inner Ricky Williams. Let's
Yeah.
Okay. That was
Already here, I
You can
guess.
scoot back or whatever.
Nah, you here. You with us now. No.
Yeah, I guess I'm here.
You're with
Nah,
us.
you here.
But I know Noah's new to this. Usually when we come on here, Nate is the guy. He's the guy that just wants to do his thing. And I don't like to take it from him because this is Nate's thing. But today Nate's my show, so he has to finish it strong. So is there anything you'd like to say, Nate, before I pull up the screen?
Let God speak through you to us.
I gotta channel my inner Ricky Williams. I take a deep breath. Once we get into it, I can. Okay, perfect. All right, Nate, if you don't mind, are you still washing dishes?
I'm done washing them.
Okay, good. I was gonna mute you if you were keep doing the water.
No. Let's go.
Okay, so for today's scripture, I picked Romans 12:19, and for always I start doing at the verse of the week. It's at the bottom. If you missed it, if I bring it off the thing, but I need to channel my inner Ricky Williams. So for Romans 12:19, it says, "Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good." So this is an interesting, very, very interesting scripture because usually Nate, he doesn't give me time to pick the scripture we need for this week. He says, look, I know God's going to speak through you. He's going to tell you something. He's going to tell you something that you have to tell somebody that they might need to hear this week, today, that they might take it with them for the rest of their life. So I get maybe 5-10 minutes to decide this scripture, and this was what was on my mind. So this is what was picked. I'm going to just try to let him speak through me and see what happens, because I really don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I do have an idea. I don't ever come unprepared to this show, so I got a lot to say. Just a little bit, and I'm going to keep it brief because we have gone over a lot of minutes, and I don't want to keep y'all too long. If y'all are still watching, I commend that because that's fantastic. I mean, without people watching, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Love must be sincere, hate what is evil, cling to what is good. I had a conversation with, I don't know if she wants me to call out her name, but if you're watching, you know who I talked to last night.
Yeah.
And we just started going back and forth, and it was interesting because she obviously has a relationship, but she doesn't want to kind of finish her relationship and stamp it until she has all the burdens off of her to go into, to be one with somebody. God bless you. I know you just sneezed. And so for her to be one with someone, she feels that all her burdens need to be erased. Everything needs to be erased. And I was just listening. I was just soaking in what she had been telling me. And I thought, well, she's right. I don't think this is stupid. I don't think, even though you're going into a good situation can still become bad. So for her to keep an inevitable goodness, she wants to cling to that goodness in her relationship and hate what is evil. For her to hate her evil, to hate her burdens before she goes into that relationship, I don't think that's dumb. I don't think that's stupid. If anything, I think that's smart. That's spiritually educated, and I commended her for it. I said, look, this isn't stupid. If people are telling you, look, you're going into a good situation, you shouldn't be worried about what you're bringing into it. But for her, it's, I'm hating what I'm bringing into it that's not good, and I'm only clinging the good that I bring to the table. And I sat there and I told her, I said, look, when you go to like a fast food place and you get your little Happy Meal and they have these little matching cards that you get as your toy, but you can't get your toy until you eat your meal, right? So you have to eat everything, and then your parents are like, hey, I'm going to give you that toy at the end. Well, we have a little pack of matching cards that we get after we eat our Happy Meal, after we finish our meal, and we have to match 2 of the same pictures together. I sat down and I told her, I said, hey, this Happy Meal, it always has a theme. Well, this theme was amphibious. These animals were amphibious, and you have frogs, right? You have turtles, you have everything on these matching cards, and you have a tadpole and you have frogs, but you can't match the 2. You can't bring a tadpole with the frog because they're not the same. A tadpole is youthful. It's inexperienced. It has not experienced what it needs to be a frog. It has not gotten that growth. It has not grown spiritually. So for you to match a tadpole to a frog would mess up your matching segment. You only get 16 cards out that pack, and 2 of them are frogs and 2 of them are tadpoles. So you have to match the frogs with the frogs and the tadpoles with the tadpoles. But the only way you can match 2 frogs together is if you're spiritually grown enough to become a frog. I said, look, you're a tadpole right now. You're trying to cling to your good. You're trying to become that frog so that you can eventually match a frog with the frog. The man you're with now, he's a frog. He has everything together. He knows what he brings to the table. But for you, you're still a tadpole. But eventually, when you get rid of that evil, you hate what is in you that is evil. You hate your burdens, you'll become a frog, and you'll match together. I said, look, we look at the story of Joseph. We look at exactly what Joseph did and how he was treated and what he was able to accomplish, what his story was. He went to prison. He found these 2 people, and he said, look, I have dreams. I have to speak. He said, I'm going to tell you exactly what your dream are. He goes to a cupbearer. He has this bread maker, and he tells him what the dreams are, and then he goes to the Pharaoh because the Pharaoh is so interested in what Joseph has to say. He's so interested about Joseph telling him what his dream means. He said, look, Pharaoh, you're going to have 7 years of famine. You're going to have 7 years of some of the hardest hitting years of your life, some of the things that you don't know if you want to go anymore. You don't know if you want to still keep going. You don't know if you want to still keep showing what you got to God, but God's there with you. He's just showing you these are the hardest times in your life, and if you can get through it, you can get through it with me. But then after 7 years happens, after the 7 years of famine, after the 7 years of just nothingness, guess what happens? He has 7 years of abundance, 7 years of some of the best crops, 7 years of some of the best life that he's ever lived. And once those 7 years of the best life happened, he looked at those 7 years of famine and said, look, those were there, and I can go back to what I've said before, those were so perfect at what they were chosen to do. Those 7 years were so perfect at what it was made to do, that it was so perfect at building me up to who I was today. Those 7 years of nothingness, those 7 years of famine mean nothing to me now, because now I have 7 years of the best life I've ever lived. And I can thank who for that? I can thank God. And so when we look here today and we look at ourselves and we say, hey, maybe I'm experiencing those 7 years of famine. Maybe I'm experiencing those 7 years of nothingness. But if I can get through it, I can get through it with God. So Nate, I know you're doing your thing. I want to end off with the prayer like we always do. Thank you for letting me do the scripture today. Hopefully it was good. I mean, I didn't even know what I was going to say until right then and there, but hopefully it was something.
That's why I get so mad at you sometimes, because you be holding out. That's why I get so mad at you sometimes. And I told you that you gotta start talking. You have a gift, and it's very selfish of you to keep that gift to yourself.
Well, Nate brings it out of me at the end of the week. So we can finish off this episode, I would like to pray, if you don't mind, so that we can just get done with it. I'll keep it brief. On the Father, Son, Spirit. Lord, I want to thank you for letting us come here today just to get another good episode in and to just really praise you at the end of the day, because without this show, without this end of the segment, we can't have a complete show, and we have to end it with you. We have to start our week on a high note. We have to end it on a high note, and right now we're ending it and we're starting it at the same time. So Lord, right now we're adhering and we're having our 7 years of famine. Show us that there will be 7 more of some of the most abundance and some of the best lives that we will ever live. Show us that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Show us that you will be there waiting for us, so that when those 7 years of the best lives we've ever lived, those best years of our lives come, we'll look at those past 7 years of nothingness and be like, well, that was just teaching moment. Lord, I want you to help us become the frogs and stop letting us be the tadpoles we are today, because when we're tadpoles, we're immature and we're neglecting you, Lord. Help us grow to the spiritually people we're supposed to be, because whenever we inevitably see you, hopefully inevitably see you, it will be all worth it. So Lord, I want to thank you again for letting us come here today. And until next week, in your Son's holy precious name, we pray. Amen. Amen. Nate.
That's it. That's it.
I really enjoyed this episode.
That's it. That was
I
it.
didn't know what I was going to say. I enjoyed it. That was good. Sometimes I impress myself. I mean, I toot my own horn, but sometimes...
Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, you know. But Nate, I mean, we've gone almost 30 minutes, so I'm sure people are
Yeah, you know,
dying for this.
I gotta go spend some time with the missus, man.
But is there anything you'd like to say before we end it?
Y'all have a good night. Everybody have a good night. I gotta sit down.
Nate's gonna go sit down, and until next week, I am your co-host, Connor Davis. The man to my right is the 5-year NFL vet, the man, the myth, the legend, Nate Ness. We will be here next week, so please.
And who's in the middle?
This is Noah Brock.
And it's Noah.
Thank you for having me on.
Noah,
It was a great show.
If you liked what you saw with me and Noah's chemistry, and you liked him on the thing, I want you to do your hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
If you liked what you saw, we'll bring Noah back on. It's just, if people liked it, we'll bring Noah back on and we'll see. But until next week, don't leave us, because we're still here. I'm Connor Davis again. The man to my right is Nate Ness, and we will see y'all again.